am doing a review for you today on my experiences at the Grand Coba Resort in Mexico. And I just want to say right off the bat, I am not an expert by any stretch on all-inclusives because this was my very first trip to an all-inclusive resort that's in Mexico. So my goal for doing this was to give you the review that I wish I had had before I went to this resort. And I know that sounds kind of ominous, so I just want to start off and say that I definitely would go back. I definitely. We wanted to get away for a quick 5-day getaway, December 2021. And having zero experience with all-inclusives, I asked my friends and family, their experiences and how they booked it and all that. And the majority of them booked through a travel agent. And so that's ultimately what I did. So COVID, rules are changing all the time, so double check. And this may not be accurate next month or the month after or next year. But anyway, as of December 2021, Americans and Canadians do not need to COVID test to get into Mexico, but you do need to test to get back home. The resort had testing right on site. There was a charge. I think it was, I want to say $16. It was not too terribly bad. And they checked you right there, and then they emailed you the results that same day, actually. No one once asked for my vaccinated status at any point. So it doesn't matter, vaccinated, not vaccinated, they don't care, they didn't ask. Okay, so Grand Coba is pretty far south from the airport. So from the airport, which is up north, the resort is about an hour to an hour and a half drive away, depending on how fast your shuttle guy takes you. I booked my shuttle through Amstar, AMSTAR. Make sure that when you book your trip, you also have your hotel transportation already arranged in advance so you know what you're getting. You can, once you get off the airplane in Cancun, you can take a taxi. But I suspect because it's such a long way down that you could get gouged. Packing. So the packing part was kind of hard for me because I didn't want to check my bags because I had connecting flights, and I don't really have a lot of trust in airlines because I seem to frequently lose bags. So I was able to get everything I needed in a carry-on and a backpack for 5 days. And so if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. Probably I overpacked, but I would advise at least 2 swimsuits. Women may want an additional swimsuit cover-up. I was really freaked out about the formal nights that they have at restaurants, and I really shouldn't have been. And this has been my experience in American places that are all-inclusive like that too, where you have to dress up. Some people do, they dress to the nines, but most people don't. I saw plenty of flip-flops and jeans, and I think they specifically said no flip-flops, but I saw them, so I don't think that should be a concern. I personally wore capri pants and a nice floral shirt. You don't need to bring a towel. They have towels there. There is a blow dryer in the room. Your hair is going to be a disaster because of the humidity, so I wouldn't worry too much about products and whatever. You're going to be a fuzzball. Let's see. If you're going to need like flip-flops or comfortable sandals to wear for walking around the resort and the pool. If you are planning to do any excursions when you get down there, you may want some regular walking shoes. And if you plan to do some swimming at the beach, you are probably going to want water socks because it's very rocky. I would also say you're going to want to pack some empty Ziploc bags for your phone and other valuables so they can stay dry at the pool and at the beach. You're going to want a beach bag to carry your things. You're also probably, if you're going to go on an excursion, you might want a zippered backpack for the longer ones, because they have excursions that will go half days or full days, and you're going to want to carry a lot of stuff with you for those. So I would recommend bringing that. There is a store in the lobby if you from the check-in desk. If you turn a 180 and go down that hall, there's a rather large store. It has sunscreen, shampoo, aloe, swimsuits, cover-up bags, hats, um, and just other souvenir type items. It has everything that you possibly want if you don't want to pack all that stuff on the way down. I would also bring some smaller bills for tipping. Tipping is not at all required. And we started out tipping, $1 a drink, and then we kind of fell off from doing that. I didn't notice a difference in service at all, tipping versus no tipping. In the room, the outlets are work with American or Canadian plugs. They're 110 volt. They're just two-prong outlets, and there's not very many of them. There's two in the main area and one in the bathroom. So make sure you bring a charging plug for your devices, and you might want to bring even a power bank, especially if you're going to be out of the room for long periods of time and you plan on taking. So then that brings us to the check-in process and the rooms. To me, check-in felt super rushed in that we got a lot of information thrown at us that we wouldn't remember, and I didn't probably remember it. So if that part worries you, I would just whip out your cell phone and just subtly record the whole interaction so you get the whole spiel, and then you can listen to it later. The person that we had talking to us, he spoke really good English, but because he was behind a plexiglass screen and he had a mask because of COVID, it was kind of a little harder to understand him than probably it would have been. So I don't think there's anything wrong with recording the conversation so you can review it later. It'll probably save you some time in the long run. At check-in, they're going to give you your room key, which is a little magnetic strip card. They're going to give you a towel key, which isn't magnetic strip. It's basically like a towel pass. And then they give you a physical key and safe lock. At that time at check-in, they're going to advise you to set up your COVID test. They're also going to advise you to confirm your return to the airport shuttle if you took a shuttle. They also are going to advise you to set up your dinner and show plans. There is an app that you can download, but I could not get the app to work. And so a few other guests told me that the app was pretty much worthless anyway, so I didn't feel too bad about that. There is computer stations right to the right of the check-in desk, and you can use those to reserve restaurants and see the entertainment. And I would totally advise doing that the first day. We reserved our restaurants, and we also reserved shows, but it turned out we didn't have to reserve shows because we just showed up to all of them and no one seemed to mind. But the restaurants definitely need reservations because when you check in there, they're going to check your name off the list. So for restaurants, we picked the Mediterranean and La Gourmet. La Gourmet was good. Mediterranean was pretty bad. The buffet was better than the Mediterranean restaurant, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. My friend and I, we were in the Villa 10B, and then we were at a ground level room 31010. And so that particular room had two double beds, which were pushed together to form like one super bed. We walked in and we're like, that's kind of weird, but I think it was meant to be that way. Across from the beds, there was a TV mounted to the wall. It had various channels from all of the world, different languages. There was a desk and a chair. Further on over, there was a sitting room. It had like a couch, and then there was a small table and two chairs and a lamp there. then beyond that is your patio. And so we were on ground floor, so it was a patio, but it had sliding doors, and you walked out, and there were two plastic chairs, a table, and an ashtray out there. Um, and then on the other, so you go back to the bedroom, and then you walk down the other way, and it's the hallway to the door out. The hallway had a large closet with shelves, and then that's where the safe is. And then your bathroom. Um, the bathroom was really nice. It had a tub and shower combo, and the tub was actually a jacuzzi tub. So that was really nice. And as I mentioned before, the outlet situation was pretty bad because there was just two of us, but we had I had a laptop with me because I was doing a little bit of work, and then we had our two cell phones, and then I had a power bank, and we only had just the two outlets in the room. So we were, constantly scheduling when we plugged things in just to make sure we all had charges. The air conditioning was adequate, I guess, but it barely kept up. And I had it on the maximum 24/7. But the room always felt a little damp, especially when getting into bed. I mean, when I got back to the United States and I packed my clothes up all tight in cubes and everything, when I opened it up to put them in the laundry, they were still damp. That's how humid it was. The first day was like pretty hard to get used to, but then after it, I think you acclimate a little bit better. But yeah, it's pretty humid. The let's see, the beds, ours were pretty firm and hard, but never had a problem sleeping because we were so tired each night when our heads hit the pillow. The beds themselves, they come with each bed had three pillows, a sheet, a blanket, and a thin cover. Something else that I want to point out, there were some bugs in our room. Most notably, there was like a couple ant-like things we found in our bed. I found a spider that had come into the patio door, so we pretty much didn't use the patio. We just kept that shut all the time for that reason. And then there were a ton of these little black flying bugs in the bathroom. None of these bugs that we saw, it wasn't bad. I mean, the bugs were all really small. None of them bit me that I could tell. And maybe because we were on the ground level, that's why there were bugs in our room. I'm going to talk about the grounds now. Mostly Coba, but a little bit about Tulum and Akumal. Akumal, I think I'm pronouncing that right. They're beautiful, and you can visit not only your own resort at Coba, but you can go to Tulum and you can go to Akumal. They're all connected via walkways, and they're connected via shuttles. The shuttles will run every 10 to 15 minutes roughly at the various shuttle stops that they have. Not every shuttle goes everywhere, so you kind of have to ask, or like, are you going to Tulum? No, I'm going to whatever, and so then you wait for the next one. So that was kind of interesting. There's lots of wildlife running around. It was kind of interesting to see because they do have common animals that you may be used to seeing if you're from the United States, like raccoon, but they also have coati, capybaras, iguanas, other types of lizards. So it's pretty cool. Some of them will get pretty near you, but they don't seem to want to get too close to touch you. It doesn't feel like they're going to bite you or anything. So that was actually really cool. I really liked that. The maps of the grounds. That's something that I felt was very lacking. Especially in those first couple days, it was so super easy to get lost and turned around. There are physical signs around that try to point you on where to go, but they don't always seem clear. For instance, there's one sign that had an arrow pointing like up, which would normally tell you to go straight, keep going straight, but really it was pointing up for a restaurant that we knew, was off to our right and behind us. So I don't know, it just was a little bit confusing. And I mean, the map that they provided had such small text, and I'm old, and so it was hard for me to read, and I got kind of frustrated with it. we did pick up a lot of information from the people at the resort. Everybody is super friendly. You know, we're all on vacation, so everybody's relaxed and they love sharing information with you. So some people thought that Coba, our resort, was the best because they said our buffet is way better than the other ones. Um, my personal opinion, having seen all the resorts, I kind of thought Tulum was maybe the best, just because their villas on the outside to me looked more modern and fancy because they had white facades and light wood doors, and the beach area is actually closer to Tulum, some of the Tulum villas than Koba is. Somebody told me that they thought Akumal was the best because of their pool, because they have an infinity pool, and they also have an area to snorkel on their beach. So you know, each resort has their own pluses and minuses. Most of the villas in the three resorts are going to be nowhere near the beach or have a beach view. They're all in walking distance, and the villas that are furthest away from the beach might be like a 15 or 20-minute walk. But again, you know, they also have shuttles for that. Um, I felt like the pools in each resort, the main pools, looked super nice. Each one was great, and they're all different. None of them are look like another. So in Koba, there are two main pools. They're huge, and neither of the pools seem to, you know, fill up with many people in them. So, you know, you're not gonna go shoulder to shoulder with somebody in the pool. There's lots of room. Um, at Koba, you can usually find a lounge chair, although the prime ones always seem to be taken. But you can find a lounge chair, just maybe not your favorite one. Koba also has some smaller, kind of tucked away pools, and those pools don't always appear on every map we noticed. So check those out because we enjoyed one of them. One of the days they happened to be closer to our villa, and it was just really private and nice and relaxed. The swim up bar at the one of the Koba pools was closed due to COVID, and this was kind of annoying because nowhere did it say they were closed. So there were people sitting up at the bar drinking, so we kind of went up there thinking, well, they're going to serve us, and we waited and we waited and we waited until somebody finally took pity on us and said, oh, you know what, they're closed for COVID. You have to get out of the pool, go all the way around and wait in line. So that was kind of annoying. Um, yeah. Then Akumal has, as I said before, they've got the infinity pool, and we could not find a lounge chair there. It was packed. There are lounge chairs that you can find at the beach area there, but the beach area at Akumal is very, very rocky. I didn't really like it. I liked the beach area that Koba and Tulum share the best, although it still is kind of rocky. Um, and I did see only one of Tulum's pools, and it was the one that was by the ocean, and it was really nice as well. Maybe not as big as the Koba pools, but it was really nice. Um, so we got conflicting information about pool use, and so I still don't know exactly what's true. Some people said that not only could we walk around the other resorts, but we could use their facilities for free, just as if we were there. Some other people said, no, you can't use the pools, you need a pass. So we did actually go and use the pools without a pass, and no one told us to leave. But we were not allowed to order drinks from their bars, and they knew that because we had blue wristbands on. And I did see some people that had blue wristbands like us for Koba, but they also had a second band, an orange band, and they were able to order drinks. So I presume they had bought the pass to go there. Let's see. Bars. So to get a drink, there are bars at all the pools. There are, well, all the big pools, I should say. There are bars in each restaurant. There are bars at each entertainment area, and there are bars at the buffet. And all the drinks, as you might imagine, are extremely watered down. The only time that I felt like I got a drink that wasn't watered down was in the morning when I order a mimosa, and those seem to actually be strong. And I'm not sure why that was, but that was my experience. So let's see, each resort will have their own buffet. So if you're staying at Coba, you have to go to the Coba buffet, which is right off the lobby area. You can't go to any other resort's buffet. The Coba buffet is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they're not open 24/7. They are closed in between cleaning, and I'm not sure when they close up for the night, but then they're closed overnight. The COVID protocols, they kind of changed while we were there. Like sometimes they asked us just to wear a mask in the buffet. Sometimes they would squirt hand sanitizer on our hands. Sometimes they asked us to step in this liquid tray thing and then step on a mat. That was like a real trip hazard because sometimes they didn't point out was there, and I saw so many people, including myself, stumble on that. That was a lawsuit waiting to happen. One of the days they actually took our temperatures. The towels. I didn't talk about the towels. So at the beginning, you get a card that's like a towel pass, and you take that with you up to one of the towel stands, and you turn that in, and then they give you a blue towel. And I guess each resort has a different color towel, from what I gather. So Coba is blue, so they give you the blue towel, and then when you're done with that towel, you can take it up and exchange it for another towel, or you can take it up and you can get your card back. And so basically that's how they keep track of towels. I found the towel situation to be one of the more frustrating things. There are very few towel stations. A lot of the time they were out of towels. It just seemed like such a hassle. So when we did finally get towels, we kind of hung on to them like they were gold, and then we dried them out, tried to dry them out as best we could in our room. They never quite fully got dry because they're like gold, and I didn't want to give them up. But when you check out, whether you have the towel or you have just the card left, you need to turn that into the front desk or you're going to get charged. If you lose your card, your towel card, it is $10 to get a replacement towel card. So keep a hold of that like it's gold. Also, when you check out, you need to make sure that you return the safe key as well. I don't know if there's a charge if you forget that, but they want you to return that safe key. So those are just some things to keep in mind. Okay, so the restaurants. We got a choice of two. I don't know if you get a choice of more if you have a longer stay. We had a rather short stay, but we picked the Mediterranean and La Gourmet. And Mediterranean was quite honestly awful. Don't go there. The food was really beautiful to look at, but it was so bland. It just didn't taste good. And then it was further complicated by having when we went, there was no air conditioning at all. They had ceiling fans, and so it was very sweaty and uncomfortable. And so I don't know if they just don't have air conditioning, or they did and it wasn't working that day. But just overall, I wouldn't go there. La Gourmet was knocked it out of the park. That was the best experience. Better than the buffet. It was great. The food was not only beautifully presented, but it really tasted good. I liked everything I got, so I would highly recommend La Gourmet. And talking to some of the other people there, we ran into one other person who had tried the Mediterranean and didn't like it either. So I felt validated by that. We were told that the two Oriental places that they have were both really good too. I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but so fabulous all the way around. And I think I mentioned before, they ask you to dress up for the restaurant, but really you don't, because I saw lots of people in flip-flops and jeans. So if you're freaking out about it, don't worry about it. You can kind of wear more casual stuff. As far as entertainment goes, they had shows for 3 of the nights that we were there. One was an 80s rock review. It was pretty good. I mean, if you aren't a fan of 80s music, you probably wouldn't like it. But if you are, yeah, you'd probably like it. They had a magic show, which I thought was really good, and a circus, which was my favorite by far. We enjoyed them all. They all three of those started at 9 p.m. and it didn't appear that they had an earlier show like at 7 or a later show at 11. It just seemed like there was that one 9 p.m. show, which kind of is confusing to me, because they asked us to sign up for shows at check-in and we had to select a time. And that was really weird because you didn't have to. You could just show up. Nobody checked anything. Um, there's also a small little area right outside, behind the lobby area. There's a little stage set up, and they have live music out there nightly as well. And so you can grab a table and sit and drink and watch that. They did have a gym and they had a spa, and I didn't visit either one, so I cannot give you any information there. Excursions. So excursions are completely optional. And I think you can book them in advance, or you can just wait and see what they have and book them in the lobby there. It seemed like there were like a few different places you could book them, but my shuttle company call when our shuttle company dropped us off at the lobby when we first arrived in Mexico. They were very adamant about, come back and see us tomorrow to book your excursions, and they actually even called us at 8 a.m. The next morning, which woke us up and was kind of annoying, but to remind us that they were going to be in the lobby till noon and we could book our excursion through them. So when we went to the lobby to go look them up, I just saw other people that were booking excursions too. So one of them, I don't know if they're through the hotel or some other service. It was kind of a mystery to me. So we booked through Amstar, but they actually worked with another company called Caribbean Adventures. So it wasn't Amstar that took us on it. It was this other third party. Anyway, we I think it was total win. We paid $120 for a half day excursion, and it was amazing. I've done tours that were by far much more expensive than that, and we got and for much less. So we got a lot for that 120. We got to see Mayan ruins. We got to swim in a cenote, like a cave that has water in it. We got to do snorkeling, and then we ended up at an exclusive beachfront restaurant, and then we had a meal. So for that $120, I think it was well worth the money. But there are other different things that you can do. Tons of different things. There are Mayan ruins scattered all over that place, and some of them are really famous, the ones that you've seen in pictures. We'd opted not to do the really famous ones because they're like a 3 hour drive away, and we didn't want to spend that much time driving to it. But there are many different kinds of ruins you can see. They had an ATV excursion, they had zip lining, they had an eco tour. Basically, there's a lot of choices that can fit, um, anything that you want to do. So I would encourage you to pick up at least one excursion because it was really worth it, and I'm so glad I did it. Um, the especially the cenote. Um, I I'd never I've seen the pictures of them, but I've never done one. But that was probably by far my most favorite thing to do. It was unique, and I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to do that again. So highly recommend that.